So, I want to talk today, and I'm going to make it more about me, my experiences, and my shortcomings. And perhaps by doing that, you can identify and we can validate each other. As victims of narcissistic abuse, we tend to have very low self-esteem. Now I'm going to share something with you. For many, many years, as far back as I literally can remember, I was abused in many different fashions. Some are very ugly. But emotional abuse was very high up there as well as the physical and the sexual abuse. But for so many years, my teen years, my 20s, my 30s, I never dealt with it. I never understood it. I never identified with it. I put it off to the shelf and I pretended it didn't happen. And I went on with my life. And I knew in the back of my mind it happened, but I would just blow it off. Yeah, I got through that one. But I never dealt with it. I never acknowledged it to myself at an honest personal level. I never really truly shared these abuses with anyone in my life. On a high level I did. To the woman who I was married to. A very good woman, by the way. But never on a deep level. And I should have been in therapy. I really should have been, because it affected me so deeply. So here it is, our low self-esteem. For so many years, and it doesn't matter if you were a child of a narcissist or you were married to a narcissist, but for so long, you were pounded with messages. Pounded with messages that you were worthless, that you were a piece of garbage, that you were always making this mistake or that mistake, that you were a little whore or you were a little sick bastard. Constantly, for years, pounded with this. And how could we not grow up with low self-esteem? Now, through my young adult years, I really held up a good front, strong man. When I was damaged, I was really damaged. And I didn't do anything about it. I didn't know to do anything about it. So this low self-esteem, I took this into my relationships. I would easily be conned. I would easily be taken advantage of. I was very generous. Incredibly generous. Even to family members, I was very generous financially, and that just came back to stab me right in the back. But I was emotionally generous also. But I always had this feeling that I didn't deserve to be loved. I didn't deserve the good things that had happened to me. I felt like a fraud. because of so many years of being bombarded with messages of being worthless. So, my bad, not taking care of it. Okay? But if you're in that same boat, maybe we should give ourselves a little bit of a break. I mean, I didn't know I was damaged. I knew all the crazy abuses that happened upon me, and I chose not to deal with it. I think it was so horrific I couldn't deal with it. And now, later in life, I am dealing with it. I'm dealing with it emotionally, mentally, with my therapy. I'm dealing with it legally. I can't go into that. But not legally against me. Legally against those. But maybe, again, we should give ourselves a little bit of a break. It's not human nature to be continuously bombarded with horrible, disgusting messages. It's not your fault. That wasn't my fault. It was not your fault that you had somebody who abused you. It's not your fault that someone took advantage of you. Specifically, when that person should have been there to nourish you, to empathize with you, simply to love you. And it's not your fault that they betrayed that. And what we find ourselves doing now is being very overprotective, not trusting, not thinking that we're worth anything, not thinking that we're worth love or the affection of someone that's kind. Got a newsflash for you. You are worth it. You were abused. If you're watching this and you have a narcissist in your life, you were abused. You did not deserve that. That is not your fault. And you deserve to be loved. You deserve for good things to happen to you. You deserve to give yourself a break. Because you're understanding now what happened. Back then we didn't have the technology like we do now, where we can learn. All we knew is something that was terribly, terribly wrong. And that thing that was wrong is not your fault. Please understand that abuse is not your fault. Take this message to heart, please. Really think about it. And I want you to have peace today.